Did you see the absolute state of our press and media this week? When it was announced that King Charles had cancer, we had blanket coverage on all the headlines, and the news programmes spent most of their time on it. On his personal level and for his family, of course, it's bad news. But the impact on our lives was, well, absolutely fucking zero. One good thing that did come out of it was that more people are coming forward for tests. Now, this would have increased waiting lists for people who can't afford to go private and have to rely on a service decimated by Tory austerity. But as we've now seen, we'll all have crack teams of doctors coming to our homes to treat us. They made a lot of the fact that William will stand in for royal duties, even though he's currently looking after his kids while Kate is recuperating from her recent operation. They talk about him as if they're a normal family, struggling to make ends meet and with no help from staff. But who else will make public appearances, working hard to shake people's hands, cut ribbons, and I don't know, accept flowers from little girls? Prince Andrew? Bit inappropriate. Prince Harry, who flew all the way from America at the drop of a hat, again like any other family could, and then saw his dad for 45 minutes before Charles headed off to Sandringham, the one of his many properties he's chosen to be treated at. And today's headline, King gives first message, followed by King smiles attending church in Sandringham. Jeez. Good job there's no cost of living crisis, no wars going on, and no major inequality in the country. Speaking of which, another out-of-touch witch twat has also been in the news. Rishi Sunak, of course, who thought it was entirely appropriate to bet Piers Morgan £1,000 that a migrant will be flown to Rwanda by the end of the year. Now, we've all made snap £1,000 bets on other people's lives, haven't we? Although it was an achievement for Rishi to look like the bigger tosser sitting next to Piers Morgan. And Sunak showed how empathetic he can be the very next day in Parliament when he denigrated trans people while the mother of murdered trans teenager Brianna Key watched on. And then, to make matters worse, he had his team of incompetent fuckwits doing the media rounds and saying it was Keir Starmer's fault. In the same way they've attacked Labour for rolling back on their 28 billion Green pledge. I'd love to see that go ahead, but at the end of the day, the money has to be there to cover it. The Tories, particularly Greg Hands, made a big thing of the note left by Liam Byrne, telling the then new Tory government there was no money left 14 years ago. Will Jeremy Hunt be honest enough to leave one saying there's no country left? But as the Tory and supporting media have been quick to point out, after Rishi sneaked out his tax details late on a Friday, just as Parliament went into recess, Rishi has paid £500,000 in tax. What they don't mention is that due to the low rate of capital gains tax, he's actually paid less than a PAY taxpayer in percentage terms. Yes, you're taxed less for unearned income than for earned income from working. If only someone had been in position to make tax fairer as Chancellor and Prime Minister for the last 4 years. But they've come up with a few plans that working together will mean they can keep their unearned wealth without raising any taxes. First, reduce inheritance tax for the top 5% of the richest in the country, while telling everyone else they've had a tax burden cut, even though that's actually a blatant lie. Second, force those young enough to fight in a war that no one wants. And finally, make the survivors work until they're 71. Yep, it's been mentioned, if they're lucky enough to get a job and not end up homeless on the streets, that is. The Tory government, protecting the interests of the wealthy since 2010. If, like me, you don't think it's fair that the government only looks after its own, why not share this video? Subscribe, which really helps smaller channels, and click for notifications.